It's just not possible to have lost Georgia. It's not possible. When I heard it was close, I said, there's no way. But they dropped a lot of votes in there late at night. You know that, Brett. And that's what we are working on very, very stringently. But regardless of those votes, with all of it being said, we lost by essentially 11,000 votes. And we have many more votes already calculated and certified to. So I just don't know, Mark, I don't know what's the purpose. I won't give Dominion a pass because we found too many bad things, but we don't need Dominion or anything else. We have won this election in Georgia based on all of this. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, Brad. Having a correct, the people of Georgia are angry. And these numbers are going to be repeated on Monday night, along with others that we're going to have by that time, which are much more substantial even. And the people of Georgia are angry. The people of the country are angry. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated, because the 2,236 and absentee ballots, they're all exact numbers that were done by accounting firms, law firms, etc. And even if you cut them in half, and cut them in half again, it's more votes than we need.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
Certainly seems like a lie.
If you're going to be a good attorney general, to be able to tell hard truths to the president. So my questions now are, can you tell hard truths to the president? So let me start with an easy truth that you could speak to the president. Can you tell him that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election? Can you say that? Do you have the independence to say that? Do you have the gravitas, the stature, the intestinal fortitude to say, Donald Trump, you lost the 2020 election? Can you tell us that here today?
Senator, what I can tell you is I will never play politics. You're trying to engage me in a gotcha. I won't do it. I won't play politics with any ongoing investigation.
So let me ask you another.
Like you did, leaking your colleague Devin Nunes's memo.
If you can't answer the question, let me ask you a different, what should be a simple truth, not a hard one. Was there massive fraud affecting the result of the 2020 election? Yes or no?
Senator, I'm glad you asked that question. If you'll let me answer what I saw in Pennsylvania.
No, I asked a simple question about massive fraud.
I can only tell you what I saw in Pennsylvania.
I know you want to answer a different question, but my question is, can you tell us whether there was massive fraud affecting the results of the 2020 election? Yes or no? Was there or was there not?
I can tell you what I saw when I went as an advocate to the campaign.
That's not my question. So you can't answer that question. You can't speak that even easy truth to us, let alone to the president.
Have any evidence of election fraud or irregularities in the 2020 election?
So first, Senator.
Yes or no? It's a yes or no question.
First, Senator.
Do you have evidence? Yes or no?
First, Senator. I'm so sorry about the fires to you and Senator Schiff and what you're going through in your states. I have to say that.
I appreciate
think
that.
All
my
of
clock is ticking and I want to hear
all of our
your answer.
hearts go out to everyone in California for what you're facing right now. I'm glad you asked the question about Pennsylvania.
It's a yes or no question.
I was
hoping. Do you have evidence? Yes or no?
That was morbid. Her just trying to go to the fires and the tragedy, in the middle of this hearing right here, when the man says yes or no. That is so morbid.
Senator, I was hoping.
My clock is ticking.
Senator. First, Senator.
Do you have evidence? Yes or no?
First, Senator. Fraud
or irregularities in the 2020 election?
So first, Senator.
Yes or no? It's a yes or no question.
First, Senator.
Do you have evidence? Yes or no?
First, Senator. I'm so sorry about the fires to you and Senator Schiff and what you're going through in your states. I have to say that.
I appreciate that.
All
my
of
clock is ticking and I want to hear
all of our
your answer.
hearts go out to everyone in California for what you're facing right now. I'm glad you asked the question about Pennsylvania.
It's a yes or no question. Do you have evidence? Yes or no?
Senator, I was hoping you'd ask the question.
Do you have evidence? Yes or no?
I traveled to Pennsylvania.
Do you have the evidence? Yes or no?
Senator, to Pennsylvania.
Okay. You're not answering.
She doesn't have evidence. That is the weird thing about it. No evidence at all. And let me get back to this. Where is it at? Let me see something. What the hell is this? There we go. All right, 2 seconds. Let me pull this one back up. For some reason, it came down. Yeah, what's up, everybody? It's the weekend. Happy Sunday to everybody. Good morning. Let me see here. I think this should do it, right? All right, let's see here.
Organizations reported that he was considering Pam Bondi for a job in his new administration. Maybe he was considering her for a big job, but she never got a job in the first Trump term. She never got any job. Why is that? Some reporting has suggested that it was because, quote, Trump staffers were concerned that questions about the donation would make confirmation hearings for Bondi difficult and damaging. When Pam Bondi was serving as Attorney General in Florida, the Orlando Sentinel reported that her office was looking into Floridians' complaints about something called Trump University.
Right, Trump University. Let me see something here. All right. Can we get back to that? Trump University. Let's see. Trump University. Boom.
At Trump University, we teach success. That's what it's all about. Success. It's going to happen to you.
This wasn't your average college student, even though there was some of them that were young enough. These are middle-aged students. These are the single housewives where their husband had passed away. These are the people that wanted to make a difference in their life through real estate. And Donald Trump's ads and videos on YouTube and everything is, you too can be rich in real estate. You could be a millionaire. And what a person. Everybody believed it. These people were taking their life savings, or some cases their life savings, or taking.
Now, apparently, this is a scandal in Florida that happened, actually called Trump University, right? Where people asked for their money back. I think it was a class action suit. Hold on.
In their retirements, and some of them were even maxing out their credit cards to pay $35,000 to get that coaching, the infield, some retreats. You heard of Donald Trump and you thought real estate empire, self-made man.
Now, this lady was the DA at that time. She was the supposed DA, I believe.
And then I came up from Florida in the interviewing process, realized that, in the beginning, a lot of people asked me questions about real estate transactions, real estate deals, state laws, real estate contract laws. It was pretty much easy to answer, but I felt right from my get-go, I was teaching and educating the people that actually worked there. I was delusioned at the time because I thought to myself, what kind of business does this Trump U is, and what kind of business is it? And especially when it seems like no one inside that's interviewing me really knows real estate. They picked me to actually work as their inside house coach, mentor. And at that point in time, it wasn't totally honest what was going on. In the beginning, I admired Trump. In the beginning, I actually looked forward to working for him. I loved working with the students. I loved being the advisor position. It wasn't until I started noticing things where they started attending these live events, because I would get phone calls from students saying, well, I was taught this at this live event in New York City or in Texas or in Florida. And at that point in time, I was like, well, you can't do that. That's illegal in your state. So then I went to Michael Sexton and the owners and the people that were in charge. And I said to them, I said, somebody needs to go and audit these live events because I think something's being taught not kosher or illegal. So I was the guy who had to be attending those live events. And they took that and they used it to do more upsells and sells and all. And I was the inside guy coming back thinking to myself, these people don't really know real estate. They're sharks in the water and they're just high pressured salespeople. So I was credentialed and I had to prove it. Why didn't they have to prove it? And here we found out later through the subpoenas and through the whole entire court process that I went through is that they weren't. And
see, Trump agrees to $25 million settlement
that they were lying
for the Trump University, right? Now, so if people go back, right, now we can see that they're talking actually about this woman here. She was the DA at that time. Let me see. They're gonna say it one more time. And this is wild. So this is the lady that they have coming up here.
The first time, multiple news organizations reported that he was considering Pam Bondi for a job in his new administration. Maybe he was considering her for a big job, but she never got a job in the first Trump term. She never got any job. Why is that? Some reporting has suggested that it was because, quote, Trump staffers were concerned that questions about the donation would make confirmation hearings for Bondi difficult and damaging. When Pam Bondi was serving as Attorney General in Florida, the Orlando Sentinel reported that her office was looking into Floridians'
Right, Attorney General.
complaints, difficult and damaging. When Pam Bondi was serving as Attorney General in Florida, the Orlando Sentinel reported that her office was looking into Floridians' complaints about something called Trump University.
Pam Bondi, the next former Florida State Attorney General, seems poised to become the next Attorney General of the United States. This is despite the fact that she has a record of corrupt dealings with Trump and other corporations. My name is Dina Saigdal with the Midas Touch Network. Let's break this down.
Well, with a big thud falling out of Donald Trump's chaos cabinet, Matt Gaetz, the nomination of Pam Bondi at least falls into the category of, I would say, elections have consequences, Jay. No, I mean, he does have the right to appoint people, like I've been saying, who are qualified with a healthy Senate review for advice and consent. But Pam Bondi was the Attorney General of the state of Florida for 8 years, and so she does have the requisite experience, but she comes with the heaviness of having been a massive election denier. I mean, she even went so far as to suggest that there were fake ballots stuffed in Pennsylvania. She what was really serious problem was she actually looked the other way when Trump University clearly committed massive fraud, robbing students of millions of dollars.
Evidently, in 2016, Pam Bondi was considered too controversial to get a job in the Trump administration. This is because of what she did with Trump University when she was the state attorney general. No longer the case in 2024. In fact, in comparison to Kash Patel and Pete Hegseth, she's considered so normal that she seemed to glide through the confirmation process. But the fact is, her corrupt dealings while she was the top lawyer in Florida is serious. And during her confirmation hearings, she was not able to answer very basic questions like, did President Biden win the 2020 election? And she said that she did not know if she ever heard the infamous call between Trump and Governor Kemp regarding finding those 10,000 votes.
Not possible to have lost Georgia. Not possible. When I heard it was close, I said, there's no way. But they dropped a lot of votes in there late at night. You know that, Brett. And that's what we are working on very, very stringently. But regardless of those votes, with all of it being said, we lost by essentially 11,000 votes. And we have many more votes already calculated and certified to. So I just don't know, Mark, I don't know what's the purpose. I won't give Dominion a pass because we found too many bad things, but we don't need Dominion or anything else. We have won this election in Georgia based on all of this, and there's nothing wrong with saying that, Brad. I mean, having a correct. The people of Georgia are angry, and these numbers are going to be repeated on Monday night, along with others that we're going to have by that time, which are much more substantial even, and the people of Georgia are angry. The people of the country are angry. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated, because the 2,236 and absentee ballots, I mean, they're all exact numbers that were done by accounting firms, law firms, etc. And even you cut them in half, and cut them in half again, it's more votes than we need.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
And she said that she did not know if she ever heard the infamous call between Trump and Governor Kemp regarding finding those 10,000 votes. As a lawyer, a basic professional ethics means you're not supposed to lie. And those two statements that she made, not knowing who won 2020, not knowing if she'd heard that call, certainly seems like a lie.
If you're going to, Chairman, Ms. Bondi, as you know, the Supreme Court in Trump versus United States held the president has absolute immunity to commit crimes in certain core areas of the president's responsibility. One of those core areas is the Justice Department. So in a breathtakingly dangerous and irresponsible decision, Justice Roberts and the majority held the president could commit crimes using the Department of Justice and be immune from prosecution. Justice Sotomayor correctly said this new immunity lies about like a loaded weapon. So the fear and the concern we have is that the incoming president will use that loaded weapon, that immunity, to commit crimes through the Department of Justice. And for that reason, it is all the more important that we have an attorney general who has the independence, the strength, the intestinal fortitude to say no to the president when it is necessary. So my first set of questions has to do whether you have the independence to say no when you must say no. And you can say this is hypothetical, but it is not hypothetical. So let me start with one very specific non-hypothetical. The president has said Jack Smith should go to jail. Will you investigate Jack Smith?
Senator, I haven't seen the file. I haven't seen the investigation. I haven't looked at anything. It would be irresponsible of me to make a commitment regarding anything without, you're a long practicing attorney, without looking at a file.
So you would need a factual predicate to open an investigation of Jack Smith, is that right?
Not a summary by you sitting here. Yes, sir.
And not a summary by the president either, right?
Absolutely.
So a summary by the president or his desire to investigate Jack Smith would not be enough for you to open an investigation of Jack Smith, is that right?
I will look at the facts and evidence in any case. You know.
And this is the wild thing. I mean, she's coming in knowing basically that she's a liar and she's willing to lie. And you have to, I leave it up to everyone else to decide what does that mean to them. But to me, it actually suggests that that's the wrong person for the job. A person that's easily able to just sit there, knows that they look like they're lying and continue the lie. Because this is not good acting. This is kind of like mediocre acting.
And sitting here would not be enough for you to open an investigation of Jack Smith, is that right?
I will look at the facts and evidence in any case. You know.
And sitting here today.
I will look at the facts.
Summary by the president or his desire to investigate Jack Smith would not be enough for you to open an investigation of Jack Smith, is that right?
I will look at the facts and evidence in any case. You know.
And sitting here today.
Senator, 72% of Americans
please, I only have 7
lost
minutes.
faith in the Department of Justice.
Look, that she's gaslighting. She is a straight up gaslighter. And that is really, really nasty. That's a nasty thing to have to deal with when you're talking about justice. Because that person will look you right in the eye and lie to a jury, lie to anything, lie to anyone. Like, here it is, straight up.
Sitting here today, and sitting here.
She would drive you crazy. Like, if you were innocent, imagine if you were innocent and this is the lady you came across, and she's like, "No, you're guilty," and she's standing there in front of the jury, just lying like this, mediocre lying. But guess what? A lot of people get convicted for mediocre lying, like straight up. But this is the person they're putting up for this position. It's crazy.
2%,
sitting here today.
Senator, 72% of Americans
please, I only have 7
lost
minutes.
faith in the Department of Justice.
Sitting here today.
They've lost faith in the Department of Justice. They've lost faith. These people are pleading, "Oh, we lost faith in the Department of Justice." That's gaslighting again. You know,
and sitting here,
72%.
does she look like she really cares? Do you think this person really cares? I'm curious myself because to me it doesn't seem like it. I don't hear it. I don't hear it in the voice.
for you to open an investigation of Jack Smith. Is that right?
I will look at the facts and evidence in any case.
And sitting here,
72%,
sitting here today,
Senator, 72% of Americans
please, I only have 7
lost
minutes.
faith
Sitting
in the
here,
Department of Justice.
Sitting here today, are you aware of any factual predicate to investigate Jack Smith? Sitting here today, yes or no?
Senator, I will look at the facts and the circumstances.
And see, this is where she's lying too, because anybody that's an attorney has been watching the top cases. They follow the news cycle. Come on, what is this? She's trying to pretend like she hasn't heard all the rumors on social media be projected in mainstream media. She hasn't heard any of those things, and she's a top attorney and hasn't heard them. That's her business. That's her actual business to know those things. And she's claiming to not know it all. She never heard anything public. That's her thing. She doesn't watch the news. She doesn't hear the news. You heard it. I heard it, but she never heard of it. And she's in a confirmation hearing. It's insidious.
You can't answer that question. You're not a part of the department yet. There's no worry about divulging
I'm sitting
law
here as a
enforcement
nominee.
sensitive information. So just tell us,
I'm
are you
sitting here as
aware?
a nominee.
Just tell us, are you aware of a factual predicate to investigate Jack Smith? Yes or no?
Senator, what I'm hearing on the news
Are
is
you aware
horrible.
of a?
Do I know if he
you seem
committed a crime?
reluctant.
I have not.
What she's hearing on the news is horrible. So she does know something, but she's not willing to say it. That's so weird. And she's not willing to discuss it in terms of her belief, what she feels, or what she chooses or might choose in the future.
Just tell us, are you aware of a factual predicate to investigate Jack Smith? Yes or no?
Senator, what I'm hearing on the news
Are
is
you aware of
horrible.
a?
Do I know if he committed a crime? I have not.
You seem reluctant to answer a simple question. Let me ask you a different simple question. The president also wants to jail Liz Cheney. Sitting here today, are you aware of any factual basis to investigate Liz Cheney? Yes or no?
Senator, that's a hypothetical, and I'm not going to answer that question.
No, it's not hypothetical. I'm asking you, sitting here today, whether you are aware of a factual predicate to investigate Liz Cheney.
Senator, no one
Based
has
on
asked
what you
me
know.
to investigate Liz Cheney. That is a
The
hypothetical.
president has called for it publicly. You are aware of that, aren't you?
No one has asked me to investigate.
But the president
Liz.
has
We're
called-
also
Look,
worried.
what is she talking about? It's a hypothetical. She's being asked right now. That's not hypothetical. She's being asked what is her opinion, and she's like, "That's a hypothetical." It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if someone's asked you that, or he's asking, "What if someone would?" And that is so interesting. She's just blanketing it. It's a hypothetical, so therefore it has no value. No, it has exact value. It has exact. Look, this is ridiculous. Everybody knows why Adam Schiff is asking that question. Everyone knows, and it's because of the Supreme Court. And she's giving an answer like, "I'm going to follow the law." Aha, that's what we want to know. What do you think the law says? Speak on it. But she's trying to divert and go around the topic. I mean,
Worried about Liz Cheney,
the
Senator.
president has
You know
called
what we
for
should
this-
be worried about?
Ms. Bondi,
The
please
crime rate.
answer
So
the
worried.
aren't you?
No.
Supreme Court has made, they say, theoretically made the president above the law, essentially. Although that's not good. That shouldn't be good enough to people. We should want to know what implications does that have in the law for us and for anyone else, right? What are the implications that has in the law? Because it has to play out in a practical way. And that's what people want to know. It depends on what your view of the law is, right? Essentially, there's some wiggle room there. So she's not willing to discuss how she views it. She wants to totally evade the question and act like, oh, well, why is he even asking this question?
No one has asked me to investigate.
But the president
Liz,
has
we're
called-
also
the
worried about
president-
Liz Cheney,
the
Senator.
president has
You know what
called
we
for
should
this-
be worried about?
Ms. Bondi,
The
please
crime rate
answer
in
my
California
questions.
right now
You
is
are
through
aware,
the roof.
Ms. Bondi,
Your
my-
robberies
Ms.
are
Bondi,
87% higher than the national
my question
average.
is this.
That's what I
My
want to
question
be
is this.
focused on.
Gaslighting. Look, she's like, your robberies are 80%. Okay, well, look, Republican states' minimum wage is $7 an hour, between 7 and 10. They are the states that primarily have not raised their state minimum wage higher than what pretty much the federal wage was when it was set in 2009, something like that, 2007 maybe, right? That's a long time ago to have not changed that really. Well, some of them have changed it maybe $1 or 50 cents. But in other words, the poorest states and the lowest minimum wage are red states because they don't seem to be able to do enough good industry. They don't know how to create industry. They fight themselves when industry is being created, like in Springfield, Ohio. They fight against that, but they themselves are having a struggle with industry because people don't want to work. Why don't people want to work? Maybe it's the minimum wage. I don't know, but it's worth taking a look at if you want to look at statistics. But she's throwing that fire out here and then gaslighting him. Adam Schiff, look, she knows he just went through a fire. And not even just the other representative, but that's exactly what she's going to use to gaslight him. I'm so sorry about the fire. And you're not only do you have fire, people are looting. So she's going to allude to the few looters, right, that have been caught in a gigantic, devastating fire, right? Forest fire, right? The largest that they've ever known. She's going to gaslight the guy and keep alluding to little issues there. But anything else but what he's asking.
Senator,
do you have the power to say no to the president?
General,
and what you're suggesting? Please
crime rate
answer
in
my
California
questions.
right now.
Adam Schiff is like trying to pull an answer, any answer from her, and she just won't give a damn answer about nothing.
No one has asked me to investigate.
But the president
Liz,
has
we're
called-
also
the
worried
president-
about Liz Cheney,
the
Senator.
president has
You know
called
what we
for
should
this-
be worried about?
Ms. Bondi,
The
please
crime rate
answer
in
my
California
questions.
right now
You are
is
aware,
through the roof.
Ms. Bondi,
Your
my-
robberies
Ms.
are
Bondi,
87% higher than the national
question
average.
is
Would you answer a damn question? Come on.
this.
That's what I
My
want to
question
be
is
focused
this.
on, Senator.
Do you have the
If I'm
power to
confirmed
say
as
no to the
Attorney
president?
General.
And what you're suggesting today by your non-answer is you don't have the independence to say no to the president. So let me ask you a different question. It also requires you, if you're going to be a good attorney general, to be able to tell hard truths to the president. So my questions now are, can you tell hard truths to the president? So let me start with an easy truth that you could speak to the president. Can you tell us, can you tell him that Donald Trump lost the 2020 election? Can you say that? Do you have the independence to say that? Do you have the gravitas, the stature, the intestinal fortitude to say, Donald Trump, you lost the 2020 election? Can you tell us that here today?
Senator, what I can tell you is I will never play politics. You're trying to engage me in a gotcha. I
No,
won't
I'm just
do it.
asking you a simple
I
question.
won't play
If you can
politics
speak truth
with any
to
ongoing
power. So let me ask you
investigation
another.
like you did
let me-
leaking your
let me
call.
Possible to have lost Georgia. It's not possible. When I heard it was close, I said, there's no way. But they dropped a lot of votes in there late at night. You know that, Brett. And that's what we are working on very, very stringently. But regardless of those votes, with all of it being said, we lost by essentially 11,000 votes. And we have many more votes already calculated and certified to. So I just don't know, Mark, I don't know what's the purpose. I won't give Dominion a pass because we found too many bad things, but we don't need Dominion or anything else. We have won this election in Georgia based on all of this. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, Brad. I mean, having a correct, the people of Georgia are angry. And these numbers are going to be repeated on Monday night, along with others that we're going to have by that time, which are much more substantial even. And the people of Georgia are angry. The people of the country are angry. And there's nothing wrong with saying that, that you've recalculated, because the 2,236 and absentee ballots, I mean, they're all exact numbers that were done by accounting firms, law firms, etc. And even if you cut them in half, cut them in half, and cut them in half again, it's more votes than we need.
Well, Mr. President, the challenge that you have is the data you have is wrong.
The intestinal fortitude to say, Donald Trump, you lost the 2020 election. Can you tell us that here today?
Senator, what I can tell you is I will never play politics. You're trying to engage me in a gotcha. I won't do it. I won't play politics with any ongoing investigation,
so let me ask you another,
like you did leaking your colleague Devin Nunes's memo.
If you can't answer the question, let me ask you a different, what should be a simple truth, not a hard one. Was there massive fraud affecting the result of the 2020 election? Yes or no?
Senator, I'm glad you asked that question. If you'll let me answer what I saw in Pennsylvania.
No, I asked a simple question about massive fraud.
I can only tell you what I saw in Pennsylvania.
I know you want to answer a different question, but my question is, can you tell us whether there was massive fraud affecting the results of the 2020 election? Yes or no? Was there or was there not?
I can tell you what I saw when I went as an advocate to the campaign.
That's not my question. So you can't answer that question. You can't speak that even easy truth to us, let alone to the president. So let me ask you a different question. It will also be important that you give good advice to the president. Are you prepared to advise the president not to pardon people who beat police officers?
Senator, as I said, the pardons are at the direction of the president. We will look and we will advise. I will look at every case on a case. Let me finish. On a case-by-case basis.
Okay, good.
And I abhor violence to police officers.
Follow up with that. So will it be your advice to the president? Mr. President, I know you said you want to issue hundreds of pardons on day one. Will it be your advice to the president? No, Mr. President, I need to go over them on a case-by-case basis. Do not issue blanket pardons. Will that be your advice to the president?
Senator, I have not looked at any of those files. If confirmed, I will look at the files.
And will you be able to do, will you be able to review hundreds of cases on day one?
I will look at every file I am asked to look at.
Of course you won't. So will you advise the president?
Can I answer the question?
Well, my question
I would have plenty of staff. You said, of course you want.
You'll be able to review hundreds of cases on the first day?
I'm not going to mislead this body, nor you.
She's like offended. She's so gaslighting fake. You know, she's so offended. Like, why are you asking me this? This is so inappropriate. These kind of questions. Oh, wait, this is misogynistic.
I will look at every file I am asked to look at.
Of course you won't. So will you advise the president?
Can I answer the question?
Well, my question
I would have plenty of staff. You said, of course you want.
You'll be able to review.
Of course you won't. That's what he said, lady. Okay.
Listen, I'm not going to mislead this body, nor you.
We're not asking you to mislead us. You're actually misleading us. That's projection. Look at this. That is so interesting. I'm not going to mislead, but she actually will and is misleading on purpose. That's interesting.
Listen, I'm not going to mislead this body, nor you.
All right, let me ask another question.
Nor you. Pause.
You don't want to answer that. Let me answer another question.
You were censured by Congress, Senator, for comments just like this that are so reckless.
It will also be important for you.
Censored. She's just so sassy.
To be able to.
Where's the legal talk coming from her? There's no legal talk.
To preserve the records, the evidence of the department. Are you ready to commit that none of the evidence in the January 6th investigation will be destroyed?
That is completely inappropriate. That question, Senator.
Under your watch.
Senator, I will follow the law. I will consult with ethical officials in the department.
Do you see any ethical?
Not even asked. Senator, he asked one question. What is it?
Records, the evidence of the department. Are you ready to commit that none of the evidence in the January 6th investigation will be destroyed?
I will follow the law. So if the law says destroy it, she's going to destroy it. I mean, that is, and is it, under what circumstances would it be conceivable under the law?
Under your watch. It will also be important for you to be able to preserve the records, the evidence of the department. Are you ready to commit that none of the evidence in the January 6th investigation will be destroyed under your watch?
Senator, I will follow the law. I will consult with ethical officials in the department.
Do you see any?
You don't know the answer to that already? I will follow the law. I will consult. You don't know the answer to that? It's such a simple question. Who told you it's legal to destroy stuff? You know, under what circumstances would destroying stuff like that be? Under what circumstances? You know, and just the mere fact that she can't answer that question is really weird because um, yeah, in any case, she's a lawyer.
In the January
Number one, going for that job, it should be pretty simple.
6th investigation will be destroyed. It
Comments just like this that are so reckless.
It will also be important for you to be able to preserve the records, the evidence of the department. Are you ready to commit that none of the evidence in the January 6th investigation will be destroyed under your watch?
Senator, I will follow the law. I will consult with ethical officials in the
Do you
department.
see any ethical basis to destroy evidence in the January 6th investigation? Then why can't you answer the question? Why can't you say, I commit to this committee, we will never destroy the evidence in the January 6th investigation? Why can't you give this committee and the American people that assurance?
Are you frightened because evidence was destroyed against President Trump that was false? Is that why you're frightened now?
Why do you have difficulty?
I can't believe this is.
What is she talking about? Hold on.
Evidence was destroyed against President.
This committee and the American people that assurance.
Are you frightened because evidence was destroyed against President Trump that was.
Where did she get that from? That is really, really telling, because she's making an accusation that evidence was, that is ridiculous. And this is where her conspiracy theory stuff jumps out, essentially, because she had to get that from, you know, that's one of the conspiracy theory tropes out there, you know, the deep state, you know, and how people are plotting to set Trump up. Although Trump seems to keep winning, the deep state seems to like Trump more than other people, ironically. You know, and then now the billionaires are marching in. I mean, they're marching in, of course, to get rid of the deep state. Because what other reason could they be marching in for? Could it be that they want to steal the, you know, trillions of dollars? Nah, why would they do that? I mean, they're just billionaires, super billionaires, right? They wouldn't do that.
Was false? Is that why you're frightened now? I can't believe this is.
Why do you have difficulty answering that question?
That is such a weird answer she gave too. That should be an insult to investigators, lawyers. Lawyers have investigators. You go out and you investigate. Then you make decisions. I mean, you don't just make decisions blindly without information, right? And you have your staff, right? Obviously, your legal staff, but investigators is part of it. And she doesn't have an answer.
I can't believe
Why do you
you're
have
asking such a
difficulty?
question.
Why do you have difficulty promising to preserve evidence at the Department of Justice? Why is that a difficult question?
I will follow the law.
And that is a big question. And she's acting like that's not a big question. Like, why should I answer that? So she's saying she would wipe out loads of information if told by Trump. That is what you see here. She's telling people flat out she is not going to follow the Constitution. She don't even want to know a law that would suggest that she shouldn't destroy evidence. She wouldn't want to know what that's called, obviously. And as a matter of fact, 2 seconds. Let me see here. I want to look that up. What is that called? What is that law? I mean, we may as well know, right? Because let me see. Let me go back here. Right. What? Okay. What? States. Okay. 2 seconds. What's this lady's name again? Her name is, what the heck is her name? Bondi. Right. let me see if I can find out, just get a little background on this real quick. Take this down to 100. Right. Now let's see here. Can this play back or what? All right, let me just read it off. Okay. The law that makes it illegal to destroy evidence is primarily based on federal statutes in the United States, specifically under 18 U.S.C. 1519. This law is part of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act of 2002, which addresses corporate fraud and mandates stricter penalties for the destruction of evidence related to federal investigations or legal proceedings. 18 USC. Oh, let me see something. 18 USC 1519, destruction, alteration, or falsification of records in federal investigations, bankruptcy. It criminalizes the destruction, alteration, or falsification of records or documents that are intended to be used in federal investigations or bankruptcy proceedings. Violations of this statute can lead to fines and imprisonment for up to 20 years. The law applies to any action that obstructs or hinders a federal investigation, including the destruction of physical or digital evidence that is relevant to ongoing inquiries. In the context of the confirmation hearings you mentioned, where Adam Schaaf asked Attorney General nominee Pam Bondi about the destruction of evidence, this would have related to any potential actions to intentionally destroy or alter records in connection with an investigation or legal proceeding as specified under federal law. The inquiry would be focused on whether the nominee understood the seriousness of obstruction of justice and evidence tampering, which are both illegal under federal law. Like, she don't even have a clue how foul her answer is.
Then why can't you answer the question?
This is crazy.
You were censured by Congress, Senator, for comments just like this that are so reckless.
It will also be important for you to be able to preserve the records, the evidence of the department. Are you ready to commit that none of the evidence in the January 6th investigation will be destroyed under your watch?
Senator, I will follow the law. I will consult with ethical officials in the
Do
department.
you see any ethical basis to destroy evidence in the January 6th investigation? Then why can't you answer the question? Why can't you say,
look at her. Look at her. This speaks to the root of her job. And she's like so confused, and look at her eyes. Like she must be faking these reactions. That's what it looks like.
will be destroyed under your watch?
Senator, I will follow the law. I will consult with ethical
She's so robotic in these kind of answers. And then
officials in the
Do
department.
you see any ethical basis to destroy evidence in the January 6th investigation? Then why can't you answer the question? Why can't you say, I commit?
She doesn't get that. Look at, she's totally confused. She is totally confused. This is so weird. Look at this.
With ethical officials in the department.
You see any ethical basis to destroy evidence in the January 6th investigation? Then why can't you answer the question? Why can't you say,
look at that.
Then why can't you answer the question? Why can't you say, I commit to this committee, we will never destroy the evidence in the January 6th investigation? Why can't you give this committee and the American people that assurance?
Are you frightened because evidence was destroyed against President Trump that
Look how she's not even looking in his eyes when she answers that with this ludicrous answer. Look, he's looking directly in her eyes, and look, she's looking away.
trying because
Because she's
evidence
lying.
was destroyed against.
And then look, and then she starts off here, right?
Investigation.
Look,
Then why can't you answer the question? Why can't you say, I commit to this committee, we will never destroy the evidence in the January 6th investigation? Why can't you give this committee?
she couldn't give it. And I think that's telling, and this is a serious job, but imagine the type of accountability she's going to have on investigating police brutality against minorities or police brutality against women. I mean, imagine where her ethics will be when she's doing that.
And the American people that assurance.
Are you frightened because evidence was destroyed against President Trump that was false? Is that why you're frightened
why do you
now?
have
I can't believe
difficulty?
this is even.
Why do you have difficulty answering that question?
I can't believe
Why do you
you're
have
asking such a
difficulty?
question.
Why do you have difficulty promising to preserve evidence at the Department of Justice? Why is that a difficult question?
I will follow the law.
It shouldn't be a
I will
difficult question.
follow the law. Yeah, we know that. What a boring answer. I will follow the law. That's like, okay, we get it now. We asked you, we tried to pry your brain and get a straight answer from you, yes or no, for 5 minutes. You didn't answer. We know you will follow the law. We understand. But what does the law say? She doesn't give you any clarification that what she's talking about is a crime. If you destroy evidence, it's a crime on the federal level. In past, think about this, y'all. Y'all smarter than this. Everybody's smarter than So the federal government going to go back and destroy evidence. Once it's become a case, you can't do that. There's for a number of reasons. And obviously, that would be one of them. Someone trying to cover up a crime. I mean, yeah, this is something else. But in any case, y'all, I think, is anybody's TikTok working? Because according to the news, I'm going to check my TikTok right now.
News. The Supreme Court just ruled that a controversial ban on TikTok may take effect on Sunday. The ruling putting the spotlight on President-elect Donald Trump. And I just spoke to him on the phone. It was a brief conversation. And this was his first reaction. I was actually telling him about how the
It was a brief conversation. She sounds so happy.
Supreme Court ruled. And he told me, quote, in response, it ultimately goes up to me. So you're going to see what I'm going to do. Congress has given me the decision. So I'll be making the decision.
That sounds exactly like the lady who he just appointed to be its DOJ head. Doesn't know nothing. Obviously, I got to make a decision. I'll make a decision when I make a decision. You know, I'm going to follow the law. Those are reassuring answers in this case, you know, very reassuring to the American people. Obviously, the question wasn't for the American people because the answer wasn't shit, you know, but here we go.
So we're going to talk to our panel about that because it's not so simple.
The question was for the billionaire class, okay?
Although, of course, he will have some options available to him. So before we get to that, I want to go straight to Paula to break down this ruling for us, Paula.
Yeah, easily the biggest decision out of the court so far this term. And here the justices allowing this ban on the.
Is TikTok active in the United States right now and in the EU? Thank you.
popular app TikTok to go forward amid bipartisan concerns about the national security risk posed by this app. Now, specifically, the justices were looking at a law passed last April by Congress with broad bipartisan support that's.
Oh, wow. Wait a second. It doesn't seem like it's operating here. Let me check. Is my mic on? Let me see here. What does it say?
As of January 19th, 2025, TikTok has ceased operations in the United States due to a federal ban enacted over national security concerns related to its Chinese parent company, ByteDance. This shutdown affects approximately 170 million American users who now encounter messages indicating the app is no longer accessible. In contrast, TikTok remains active in the European Union. The platform continues to experience growth, reporting an average of 150 million monthly active users in the EU between February and July 2024. Some cite turn search 3. While certain EU institutions, such as the European Parliament, European Commission, and EU Council, have banned TikTok on staff devices due to cybersecurity concerns, these restrictions apply only to official devices and do not affect the general public's access to the app. Cite Turn Search 1 nav list TikTok shutdown in the United States. Turn News 15, Turn News 19, Turn News 16.
All right. So apparently it's still up in the EU. I took TikTok off my phone. I don't really rock with TikTok because they give warnings and a lot of people don't think about these warnings, but let's say somebody gets your information, especially young people. Young people should think about this. Let's say you don't know who you want to be, but you're 17, 18, and you're on the net sharing a lot of your information, things like this, right? But let's say at a later stage in your life, you might want to have a job in the, like in the military or in this, in some sort of security company organization, and all of a sudden some foreign company got your information, right? Personal information, because you were on social media a lot. Well, this is what they're talking about when they're linking TikTok to the Chinese government. Like, do you know how they're using that information? It's not working. Oh, first of all, what's up, Kev, Donnie, and yo, sister Medea? Let me see here. It's not working. They also shut down CapCut because it's owned by the same company. Okay. You know what? And I'm pretty sure mine might still be up. This CapCut, because I'm in the EU. Let me just verify. I took TikTok off my phone, but I still had this CapCut. Maybe I should take that off too, now that you're talking about it. These apps, especially for young people, I would think, but yeah, they can tabulate a lot of information, and it's controlling your algorithm. So based on some of your old activity, at the bare minimum, we're not even talking maybe criminal yet, but at the bare minimum, they track your activity, and they can put things back in your face based on your past activity, but also other things, so things that you share about your personal life and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna have to do the same thing with this cow. I'm gonna take it off on my phone, as a matter of fact, right now. Whoop. Let me see. Take it off, uninstall. Yeah, because you never know with this cyber warfare stuff. Also, people need to understand it's getting real right about now, because there's a lot of cyber warfare, and disinformation obviously is going to reign king, but soon, if not already. But yeah, cyber attacks are big, and you never know how bad it could be. It could be like bank accounts, they're attacking people's bank accounts, anything that you use online. So beware. I'm just going to follow the advice. I don't have a reason to trust many, especially with this app stuff. So, and I'm in the EU, so I'm just going to go with whatever the law suggests. But also the US suggests. I take that warning seriously. So in any case, let me go back to this. What are they talking about here? Here we go.
Said the app would be banned unless it was sold from its parent company, ByteDance, because the concern is that ByteDance has.
Well, apparently they didn't sell it. Okay, so now they got a day, and then Trump can come in and intercede if he wants.
Obligations and allegiances to the Chinese government. And the specific national security concern is that this app is collecting enormous amounts of data on Americans, and that data could be used or manipulated in a crisis. Now, in its decision, the court said that even TikTok, quote,
okay, it's owned by ByteDance. Okay. Oh, by the way, y'all, let me know some good stocks. I don't normally talk about stocks, but you just, in terms of the tech world, stocks could be valuable depending on who you are. But in any case, thanks for that. I didn't know that. Owned by ByteDance.
Did not dispute that the government has an important and well-grounded interest in preventing China from collecting the personal data of tens of millions of U.S. TikTok users. Nor could they. The platform collects extensive personal information from and about its users. Now, Justice Gorsuch wrote, quote, speaking with and in favor of a foreign adversary is one thing. Allowing a foreign adversary to spy on Americans is another. Now, TikTok had argued that this ban is a violation of the First Amendment, as we know.
I'm going to tell you, for me, I like information is information, but for me, I'm not cool with the idea that information is just information, ultimate, not in the big picture, because, think about it. They get your algorithm. They can target you. And let's say you have a certain belief or a particular view. Well, they can target you or may not have a particular view. They can target you for whatever they want to program you to have by in essence, by playing it and repeating it over and over and over by having the algorithms, you see? So I think a lot of people don't put two and two together about the danger of information in general, and that they should always be concerned when these issues arise, because this is what they're really talking about, targeting you for, it could be for criminal activity, or it could be for what is just, called legal right now, politics or shopping or particular ideas and concepts. Think about people that get caught in this conspiracy theory bubble in different ways. Some of them think it's a person that's, part alien. Some think it's a person who's God on earth, walking around, have all kinds of followers. Some people take it as different stuff, right? The government's out to get you, the deep state, even though they're part of the deep state because they keep getting elected by the deep state for some strange reason. But these kind of conspiracy theories, they can target you for whatever your little thing is, So right now, for me, it's like, I think bad actors should be taken off the net, should be pursued, because the bad actors often, they flood the market with black money, and black money that's not being tracked. That, there's also laws against tracking it, or laws that make it harder to track. These kind of things people need to think about when they're on the net. Like, do you know what you're talking about? Do you know who you're talking to? Do you know who's listening to you? And do you know who is using that information to target you in some other way? So we're going to see here. Let me see. Oh, Dan, let me see here. Trump can't do anything because the law has been enacted by Congress. Right. Yeah, I hear you. If they going to try to follow laws and stuff, because that's what we waiting to know. We want to know, is he going to follow laws? This dirty bastard, essentially, is he going to follow laws, Mr. Dookie Pants? Apparently, I think he's going to be made to follow laws. I think those are the only laws he's going to follow, the ones he's made to follow. But I agree with you. This is how the law should work. Trump passes it. Congress passes it. President signs it. It's now law. Nobody can go against it, right? Unless you take it to the Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court bumbles it again, I agree. The Supreme Court has already spoken on this, right? That's the reason why this is coming up. So, yeah, I hear you. I mean, you're speaking facts. You're speaking what's known as facts right now. So does Trump. Remember, 2 days, 2 days, anybody making any damn sense might be told that they're they're the crazy ones. This is ridiculous. You make it too
Nearly
much
200 million Americans use this app to express themselves, everything from the news to cat videos to the latest dance craze. But the justices appeared skeptical of that argument. And in their decision today, they said, look, this is very specific. We're talking about an app that collects an enormous amount of data for a foreign adversary. So they said that even though First Amendment protections are usually given enormous deference, here they're issuing this narrow ruling. So legally, what could happen?
Let me see here. Yeah, exactly. No, a president cannot override a law enacted by Congress. No, the president can't. But the president can override a presidential veto. But Congress can override. Right. Congress can override it. Exactly. I don't think Donald Trump can do much, but it seems like he has a lot of pressure over Congress and assumes a lot of authority by, his tinkering and threatening people behind the scenes, whatever you want to call it, right? Seems like he's exuding a lot of pressure on at least the Republicans. And they seem to bite and bend every single time, I wonder why that is. I'm also more interested. I'm going to play some more of this, but then I want to follow up. It's one other thing. Is it possible? 11 minutes. Let me see something. Let me play this out.
And next, well, it kind of falls to President-elect Trump if he is able to show that there are serious good faith negotiations underway to sell TikTok. This ban could be paused, but the Supreme Court today also could have paused this and given him more time to engage in those negotiations. And the court chose not to do that. Pamela?
Yeah, that's certainly notable. I want to bring Joan in because it's interesting. Donald Trump was once spearheading the effort to ban TikTok, and then he's had this reversal. He wants to save it, right? The justices actually noted that he once tried to ban it.
They did, right at the top of the opinion. In a couple different instances, the justices referred to the fact that in August of 2020, Donald Trump had actually issued an executive order against TikTok. And it also noted that he had expressed concerns for the vast swaths of information that TikTok collects on American users. And that goes to the justices' grounds. Just to remind everyone what the federal government had argued here. 2 grounds. They argued 2 grounds. One is all the data that's collected, the amassing of data from 170 million users. But then they also argued that TikTok not only had that data to use for blackmail or espionage, but also would be in a position to covertly manipulate messages, different kinds of propaganda. The justices actually set aside the second reasoning. They decided we're not going to look at that one because it was enough for them to find that the threat to national security was in the data collection. And, we kind of saw this coming.
Yeah, exactly. The data collection. Now, this is one thing. I agree with this myself, but yeah, I did hear about that, Medea. Yeah, Trump got a coin. Yeah, I wanted to get into that. Let me see if I can come back on, but let me just play one other thing here. It's Biden on speaking about security, and these kind of things, information, cyber information. Biden issued this warning in his pretty much last speech to the public. Let's see here. Did you hear about that? Here we go.
And as he prepares to leave the White House, Joe Biden's delivered a farewell address from the Oval Office. With the handover of power to Donald Trump taking place on Monday, Mr. Biden's warned Americans against what he said was a dangerous concentration of power in the hands of a few rich people.
Today, an oligarchy is taking shape in America of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, our basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead. We see the consequences all across America, and we've seen it before. More than a century ago, but the American people stood up to the robber barons back then, and busted the trusts. They didn't punish the wealthy. Just made the wealthy play by the rules everybody else had to.
President Biden there speaking from the Oval Office in that farewell address. Well, for more on that, let's speak to Dr. Thomas Gift.
New executive order today aimed at cybersecurity. The order imposes new standards for companies doing business with the U.S. government. It's all part of an attempt to combat the rise of cyber attacks against federal agencies. The order will also require companies that do business with the federal government to follow a new set of security practices. Software companies will also have to show that their development processes are secure. Bloomberg reported today that the FBI has warned agents that hackers who breached AT&T last year likely stole months of their call and text logs.
Thomas Gift, the director of the Centre on US Politics at University College London. Welcome to BBC News. It was quite a lengthy speech. Most people are picking up on what he said about oligarchs, whether that was a tacit nod to the power that Elon Musk might have when he takes a role in the incoming Trump administration.
Now, I don't know if this is connected, but there's Biden just signed this order that would force companies to upgrade cybersecurity that work and do data storage for the U.S. government, right? Or it's probably broader than that, right? Obviously, because I'm just hearing about it. But to me, it seems like Elon Musk is one of those guys. And I find that very curious if that is the threat or one of the main threats, like when he talks about oligarchs, the fact that they may also look to hack the U.S. government, period. Obviously, if you're an enemy of the U.S., that would be something you would greatly be looking to do. If you could do that, you would be highly more successful in your own defense and in your own progress if you could do that. So to me, it seems like, I don't know. I mean, what do y'all think? What do you think? What do you think about the next 4 years coming with Trump? Do you think you'll be okay? Do you think Americans will be okay? Do you think they'll be less or worse off? Or do you think they'll be better off? Do you think the U.S. will be freer or more restricted, more controlled by the wealthy? Do you think, your freedoms will be under attack? Or do you, what do y'all think? It seems to me that everyone could expect that too many billionaires or too many people, looking for their own advantage financially in terms of why they want to govern or be a part of governance, be inside of the White House or work as a civil servant for the American people. There's that ethic right there. Like, if you're doing it to enrich your own pockets, that's wrong, period. That's unethical, straight out the bat, right? But how does it stand up to the law? Are people being allowed to do this? If so, I think that's a big problem going forward for people in general. And I would encourage people to look at this as like a slap in the face to the everyday person, everyday taxpayer, the majority, the ones that are supposed to be able to actually govern through a vote, right? And even if you got, allegations of cyber, I mean, look at this. They have the algorithm. People that aren't too clever, they can bombard you with information, overload your brain, make you feel like voting is not even necessary or helpless, right? Or useless, right? It can have you looking to the left when you should be looking to the right. It can do a lot of things. But in any case, just something to think about. I'm going to come back on later today. Let me look at something here, though. So what is this? About this? Okay, let me just read some of the comments here. Medea, the way the government is set up, he will not be able to change it. Yeah, I agree. I mean, generally speaking, I agree. It's still there. There's still the laws. He got to circumvent, go around to do any of his illegal requests. Okay, you watched his final address? I'm just going to watch what happened. I think it's going to be Sugar, honey, iced tea. Sugar. Yeah, I think you might be right about that. That's for damn sure. You're right. At the very least, it's going to be sugar and honey iced tea show. Like flat. Yeah, and peace to everybody over there on your channel, Medea. I've been meaning to catch up, but I have been peeping some things right here and there coming through the algorithm. I hope they still sending your because Elon Musk want to control all the algorithms. Let's see, he may not want people to see anybody's live messages or anything, right? But I'm glad you're doing well and you're alive in this 2025 because yo, I hope that the cleanup in your area, whatever the result was from the hurricanes, because that just passed, right? And now people talking about Cali. Soon it's going to be back. I guess summertime. We never know that towards the fall, then the tornado and hurricane stuff picks up again, and Trump will be the president. Yeah, we're gonna see how it go. But I'm gonna be back later on today. I appreciate everybody for coming through. I'll be back in a few couple hours. I would say towards your afternoon. It's in the US right now, it's 7. What is that? 7 a.m. Right. 7 a.m. 7:06 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. In the EU, it's 1:06 in the afternoon, right? And big up to everybody that came through. And those of you that will check the stream out, and once it's done, you can replay it. Click the like button, click the subscribe button, and I'll be back at y'all later on today. Blessings. One.